Probably need to turn that on. Hey, everybody, bear me just 1 second. I'm going to turn this camera on. Hold on a second. Pablo! There we go. Maybe get a little bit more light there. Let's see what we got. All right. Get a little bit more light there. Hey, that was better. All right. Just thumbs up if you can hear me. Let me turn it like that a little bit. There we go. Right on. I got to delete the other one. I don't know how. Hey, JD. Hey, Debbie. I don't know why this is such a hard thing with YouTube now in terms of going live stream. It's weird, actually. So I'm going to my video, which I put a link in the show notes. I'm going to delete that because for some reason that isn't working. I don't get it. So Ella J. Scott, we got North Carolina in the house, right on, Texas. It is the weirdest thing in the world what YouTube does. Hold on just a second. Let me delete this other one because I have a feeling that there are other people. Hey, buddy. Hey, I got Pablo up here causing chaos. Come here. And there we go. There we go. He's very excitable tonight. Just took him to go potty real quick. You say hi, everybody. Say hi. It's me, Pablo. Hold on just a second. And I'm going to, I'm not sure how to delete that. Anyway, so if, hey, everyone say hi, Pablo. Look, yay for Pablo. You guys want to see something crazy? I don't know if I can show that to you. Let's see. See that scar he's got there? That's a scar, and that's what we think we don't know if, yeah. Yeah, can someone go to the other, there might be another link on YouTube for my other, I put a link in the notes, and I couldn't, YouTube would not let me activate that. It kept saying we have to reload. I kept reloading. Would someone go to the other YouTube channel and say that it's here instead? Because I know I worry I have people that are on the other link on there saying that I worry about that. People are, well, actually, I tell you what, I might build it. Pablo's a Chiweenie. It's half gold, that's half Chihuahua, half Dachshund or something like that. Here, let me just go to and tonight. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Half Chiweenie, half Dachshund. I think it's Dachshund or something like that. Is that what it's called? And he's a great dog. He's starting to growl a lot at 2x6. Yeah. Well, I didn't do it. That's what the builder did for sure. Absolutely. Dachshund, is that what it's called? Yeah. And you can see he's very excited. Well, anyway, he had that scar in his belly there, and he's got there's no hair underneath there. It's just that's all skin. And so the lady who adopted him was a rescue dog, who we adopted him from. She thinks that someone had dragged him through the, on the road or something like that. We don't know. So anyway, he's a good boy. He's got my weightlifting glove here in his mouth, and he's chewing on that because he knows I don't lift weights anymore. Joseph in Alaska, right on. I know you live in Joseph, Alaska, Joseph. Hey, Jill, was the you don't see it anymore in your mind in your link about the video? Is that what you're saying? Okay, because I didn't. Yeah, the YouTube is giving me a hard time. It's weird. Anyways, well, I appreciate y'all being here. This is it's a learning process here. Anytime they change the hey Marie, anytime they change anything, it's nuts. It causes some chaos for sure. So they changed the YouTube a lot lately in the last couple of months, and it's hard to keep up with because they change it. And you're like, okay. But anyway, so we're all here. And I imagine, hey, Bernie, Texas, right, man? We used to live in Bernie, Big E. That's awesome. We lived on okay, cool. Thanks, JD. That's fantastic. That reminds me to think, well, I'm going to do a blog tomorrow on, I'm really getting a lot out of this Roth conversion stuff. Maybe and I wanted to do it here, so I might be able to write on the thing back there if we need to. But I do I'm getting a lot of just fun out of doing the Roth conversion things. And anyway, I'm going to do it for singles here pretty soon, my friends. So just be advised. And I got some numbers from some person who I will go nameless, who said to that I could use their stuff as long as obviously I kept everything anonymous. But I got a bunch of info from various people on using their numbers, which will refrain from saying who it is. Yeah, Falcons. Did they? I just saw. I was just watching the Bears and the Vikings. I saw that. But anyway, so I'll be doing a lot for singles on the Roth conversions, and on top of that, we'll do it for people in their 40s and 50s as well. In fact, my next one, I was working on a blog post while I was watching the Bears Vikings game with one of my kids. Is actually interesting. I'm again the double taxation of Social Security. So I'm just going to actually read this to you real quick, and then hey, Doug, man, 5 days left. Well, who's counting? So I'm going to read this to you because it's nuts. And they're used to, that's what I'm saying. YouTube used to be able to screen share while you're doing this, and you can't do it anymore. It's annoying. You can't. Anyway, so I'm going to read, and I got to figure out how to make somebody. All right, so let's go back to Tom. Yeah, there you go. So Tom, looks like you're still in there as a moderator, so that's fantastic. If I get my man Jerry in there as well, I'll throw him as a moderator too. And here we go. Big A, I'm gonna make you a moderator too. If I can do it right here, we shall see. Add moderator. All right, so Big A, you are also now a moderator. So if anyone's talks stupid stuff, look, they can yell at me. I don't care. I just don't want any racist stuff or anti-religious stuff. I don't want any of that kind of stuff, if that makes sense. Other live stream share all the time. Yeah, because they have I think it's Zoom. Big A, they live stream, they screen share while they have Zoom. I'm thinking about Dashland. Don't you love Pablo Mary? Isn't he the best? I think they have Zoom, and I'm gonna get that because I'm gonna start live stream. I enjoy the live streams. I do it. I enjoy it a lot, and I want to do it where I can screen share. I used to be able to do it. I just haven't got around to buying the stupid Zoom thing. I didn't like the sales pitch they gave me initially. It was fine, but I'm going to buy that where we can do the live stream, where I can screen share as well. So anyway, real quick, and you guys can't see this, I get it, but this is Roth conversions and Social Security. And basically what I'm going to show you on my next blog post, which I'll post tonight as a matter of fact, is I'm showing somebody who's got it's a married couple, $48,450 in total Social Security benefits with no other income at all, none. And they have no taxable income, none whatsoever. And it's actually interesting as all can be. When you actually look at the 1040, it's interesting as all can be because it's just zeros. So if you see the line 5A, which is total Social Security income, is $48,000. Everything else, though, line 5B and everything, Dad, what's going on? ARs are fun. Yes. Everything else is zeros. It's nuts. And I tell you, it's fantastic. And then you hit line 8, which is the standard deduction. And the standard deduction, Bangor, Maine, Chris Dorr, right on, man. You say hi to old Stephen King, will you? I'm sure you hear that a lot. But anyway, you see the standard deduction of 20. I might just see if I can't write this up here. Hold on just a second. Let me see if I can't do this. I tell you what, this is high class stuff, as you guys can see. I'm gonna put this on this right here. All right, let's see if we can't. Oh yeah, that might work nice. Oh yeah, there we go. That's good work. Other than that light, it's professional grade, my friends. Professional grade. All right. All right, make sure I'm not. Oops. All right, so you guys, all right, fantastic. So I think y'all can see that okay. Oh, this is all, I love this stuff. I don't understand why more financial advisors don't get into the tax planning stuff. We'll get this. Hey, Williston, North Dakota, Barb Forsberg. I'm trying to get this guy named JP who does a YouTube channel on Williston because he's in the business up there. I want to interview him because I'm very interested in that in terms of the prospects that people have, not just for Williston, but for the oil business as a whole. The fracking, the gas, the oil, the whole thing in that. And he's got a channel, JPTV 3000 or something like that. As interesting as all can be. And anyway, I just noticed that you're from Williston. We got Colorado Springs, right on. Rhode Island in the house. Okay. All right. And my man Mike from Macedonian, whatever it's called, Massilian. I saw the Browns smoke the Ravens today, huh? So maybe the couple games the Browns had wasn't reflective of what their overall situation could be. Okay, so we got 40. Hold on just a second here. You got 48,450 in Social Security. All right, good. So, all right, cool. I think he's just say 48,500 in Social Security. Yeah, you guys can see that. See that you got that thing up there. It sucks, but all right. Now that's 5A. So that's their total Social Security benefits, $48,500. All right, that's 5A. 5B, which is their taxable Social Security benefit, is zero. Nothing. There's no taxable Social Security benefit. And the reason is everything else is zeros down the board. So when it comes to AGI, taxable income, all that is zero. Now, the interesting thing is, and this is what I'm doing my blog post on. All right. So we got no taxable income at all, but they have, oh boy, what you got over there, big man? And Pablo did take a big leak down here, as a matter of fact. But what are you going to do? He's a puppy. That kind of went off a little bit. There we go. All right, cool. Make sure I don't mess up. Okay. So they have 27, I think it was 27,000. No, it was 25,700 is what it was. 25,700 in standard deductions. All right. So they have 45,000 of Social Security income. They have no income at all of adjusted gross income or taxable income, none whatsoever. And they got 25,700 of standard deductions. So the issue is you're thinking, yeah, Starling's live feed. I gave a link on the other thing. It just isn't, I don't know how to, YouTube wasn't allowing me to click on that to activate it. I had to go 3 times. I had to reload it. And it kept saying, oh, snap. And reload, I hit, and I don't know what was going on. But anyway, I was watching another guy's live feed before I started this, and he was having some problems on he was having some problems on streaming. Anyway, so we got 27,500 standard deduction. So you're thinking all I got to do is take 25,700 in IRA and convert to a Roth. And that should lead to zero taxable income. So let me tell you again what I'm talking about, because this is a nightmare. I get it, but there is a lot going on here. And I put it, like I said, put in a blog post here, so you can, instead of me just jumping around, literally using a trash can to hold this up, with Pablo eating my what used to be a weightlifting glove. Hey, D. Braddock Road, man, no way. And Braddock Road, Alexandria. Oh man, that's over by George Mason. All right, so now we got 25,700, and you're thinking there won't be any taxable income, right? Oh, no, sirree, Bob. What happens is, and again, I'll put this in the thing, you'll see that the 25,700 income makes 11,717 of that 48,000 of Social Security taxable. So the 25,700 now, it actually that you take for a Roth conversion. You're thinking that because you have 25,700 of a standard deduction, you have no income tax if you then use 25,700 as a Roth conversion. But that is not true, because what happens is not only do you have 25,700 as a Roth conversion that you're using to offset that standard deduction, you're pulling 25% of your Social Security as taxable income. And so now what happens is you have your total taxable income is $12,518, which means you're going to pay tax $1,200. You're going to be in a 12% tax bracket. And because of that, you literally have to take out more than 25,700 unless you have some other source of income to pay the tax with, to pay the tax. I'm telling you, people don't get this. I never got it for a long, long time. They do call the tax torpedo. I get that. Man, you are breathing heavy, buddy. But it's nuts. And so what happens is you don't want to do Roth conversions. conversions if you're in Social Security. Now, I'm going to do a blog post tomorrow. Again, I got a lot of blog posts on this about what happens if you do Roth conversions while taking Social Security. But the issue is that once you're on Social Security, even if you pay no taxes, because again, these folks have 45, I don't have it up there anymore, $45,000 of Social Security, none of which was taxable. It's still made, once they start taking distributions from the IRA, it doesn't have to be Roth conversions, it could be for anything, RMDs. It pulled some of that was previously tax-free Social Security and made it taxable. I hope that makes sense. It's nuts. Now, I did a third issue here where I said, what if they had $50,000 in a checking account? Because checking accounts, basically, there's no interest, a little bit, but it's not much. And what, you know, and it's all, the cost basis is literally whatever your account balance is in the checking account, that's your cost basis, which means when you take a distribution from a checking account, you're not getting hit with capital gains or anything like that. So other than, you know, whatever interest you're getting on your bank account, you're not making any money. So I'm telling you, man, this is the issue that you really want to have money in a side account before you retire. Try the last couple, and I've done a couple of videos on this, but try for the last couple of years of while you're working to build up that cash account, because you build up that cash account, that is a essentially tax-free distribution, because cash has no cost, but it has 100% cost basis. Let me explain what that means. You buy Apple stock in 1998 for $7. I don't even know what Apple's doing now, $2.20. All right, you turn around, you sell it today. So you bought for $7. We're not going to include any dividends here. We're just going to say we bought for $7 in 1998. We're selling it now for $2.20 in order to pay taxes on Roth conversions. Well, the difference between $2.20 and $7, that's $2.03. You're going to pay long-term capital gain on that $2.03. Does that make sense? So your cost basis is $7. That's your cost basis. That's how much is essentially a return of principal. So if you're selling Apple stock with a significantly low cost basis and a significantly high share price, you're going to pay income tax on that in the question of short-term or long-term capital gain. A checking or a savings account or a certificate of deposit, the cost basis is already essentially what you put in, is essentially whatever the account is worth is your cost basis. So if your checking account is worth 150, your cost basis is 150, which means if you sell 50,000 from that checking account, you're getting a return of capital or a return of principal, however you want to say it, of everything. So it's not taxable to you. I hope that makes sense. So you're basically saying, I need $50,000 to live on. I'm going to take it from my checking account. You will have no taxable income on your 1040, none whatsoever, because taking a distribution from a checking account is a tax-free event. So in that case, you say, and I do this in my next blog, the blog post I'm going to post tonight. You say, okay, so I'm going to take 50,000 from my checking account to pay for my food, to pay for my oil and all that, pay for my, get my 25th reunion wedding ring, whatever the hell you're going to get. I still have no taxable income, which means my standard deduction is 25,700. So that means I can take 25,700 from my IRA and I'll still have no taxes. I'll have no taxable income at all because I have a standard deduction of 25,700. That's true as long as the income that you have comes from a checking account. But if the income that you have comes from a brokerage, from Social Security, that 25,700 that you're taking from your IRA is adding to the income for which Social Security will then be taxed. And again, they call it the tax torpedo. I just say it's double taxation. It's nuts. And it's only going to get worse as the bigger, it's not just for Roth conversions. It's for anything. It could be for just RMDs. And so the more RMDs you get, the more that is going to pull what was previously tax-free Social Security to make it taxable as ordinary income. And the thing that friggin', pardon my French, pisses me off on all this, that while the tax code, the tax rates, the individual tax brackets are adjusted for inflation, the Social Security stuff is not adjusted for inflation. Now, the Secure Act, who was this? A lady named Gail had emailed me asking about the Secure Act. And I think she's asking who the legislatures were. And I don't know. And I never got around to emailing her back. She only emailed me the other day. But anyway, she's on here. I don't know who those folks were, the legislatures. I know one was a Democrat who sponsored it. I think I can't remember I can't remember anyway. Yeah, no, it's not Secure Act, not Secure Act. So it's 2100 Act is what it was. The Social Security 2100 Act that Devin Carroll talked about. He interviewed a sponsor, which was a guy out of Pennsylvania, Larson, if my memory serves. But anyway, what he was going to do, and one of the benefits of the 2100 Act, which is pretty significant, frankly, is he was going to say we're going to basically almost triple the exemption that you have on Social Security income, which I think is a huge move, because now essentially, unless you have over, I don't know, I think it was like 60,000 if you're single and 90,000, I can't remember what it was, but unless you had a significant, I mean, we're talking huge amounts of Social Security. I think it might be more than that. None of it's going to be taxable as ordinary income, which is the right move to do. And my frustration is the friggin' Republicans are too busy sitting on their thumbs and saying, oh, we're scared the media is going to call us Nazis. I'm like, dude, they're going to call you Nazis if you freaking look to the left. It doesn't matter. Just go ahead and pass some stupid freaking Social Security stuff. Why does it got to originate through the House? Can't the Senate at least propose a bill to pass some Social Security legislation to get the bulk of the middle class and lower income taxpayers off the rolls when it comes to Social Security? Anyway. Hey, Thomas. Thomas says, Arkansas in the house. Right on, Sandra. My man Thomas says, hi, Pablo, and to you, to Josh. Hey, yeah, right. Jay Snyder says, hello. Let's see here. All right. Starling, my man Starling asked a question, so we'll go in here. I do take questions, Starling, absolutely. So if any of y'all got questions on here, by all means, fire away. My frustration is the insanity of the political parties that I don't even know if they know how insane the Social Security rules are when governing your taxes, because the people who get hit most on this are not the freaking rich people. They're not the Hunter Bidens of the world or the Jeb Bushes. To be bipartisan, all these sons somehow made a huge fortune in politics. Isn't that odd? Huh. How does Paul Ryan, just let me diatribe for a little bit. How does Paul Ryan, just some dude from Janesville, Wisconsin, end up on the flipping board of Fox News Corporation? How does that happen? How does freaking, what's his name, Trent Lott, just some dude from Mississippi, end up with all these buildings after his names? How does freaking Robert Byrd in West Virginia, Harry Reid, it's bipartisan. It's bipartisan, uniparty crap in the swamp where they get rich while we pay. It's freaking nuts. But I saw Paul Ryan is now on the board of Fox News. I was sitting there, look, how the hell does that happen? It's all, I mean, look, they can put whatever they want on there, but they're not going to put Paul Ryan if he was just some freaking run-of-the-mill congressman. They're only going to put him on there because he was Speaker of the House. Speaker of the House, wasn't he? Not just House Majority Leader, he was Speaker of the House. They're only going to put him on there without question. How's John Boehner? Freaking John Boehner. He kissed my butt too. How does he had all these years in Congress, many years. Never want to legalize freaking marijuana at all. And all of a sudden out of nowhere, because the political winds are changing, he's on his board of freaking a marijuana production company. Now he's all big on legalizing. I'm sitting there thinking, Boehner, how many people got put in jail for freaking smoking dope, weed, while you sat there sanctimoniously saying people shouldn't smoke dope? And now later on down the road, you're getting paid freaking big bank to sit there and advocate for legalizing marijuana. All the while, these guys are in jail right now. The vast majority men, by the way, a lot of them are freaking minority men for doing nothing but freaking smoking dope. It's freaking insane. They can kiss my butt too. That's my diatribe there. It just makes me mad because I'm looking at here's Paul Ryan. He's now on the Fox News board, and yet Grandma Jones in Arkansas with her freaking Social Security and a little bit of IRA distribution, she's getting hit twice because she's got to take RMDs from her IRA, and the IRA might be $10,000 to $15,000. And what that, and I'll show you in this blog post I put up there, what that does is it makes her Social Security that much more tax. It's bull crap. And Paul Ryan and John Boehner, they didn't do crap about it. Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, they didn't do crap about it. So they can all kiss my butt. All right. All right. Sorry about that. I had to get that off my chest. Ticks me off to nothing in. All right. So let's see here. My man Sterling. Sterling's asked if I'm taking questions, should I have my Roth and the IRA be in the same portfolio? Unequivocally, no, man. What do you say about that, Pablo? Pablo says, Sterling, that's nuts. You don't want your IRA and your Roth to be in the same investments. That's crazy man talk. And I'm not saying you're crazy man. That is the reason why is because the Roth is tax-free. Your IRA has this lien on it called the IRS. So essentially what you're doing is you're saying a lot of people, I've seen this happen a million times with son by presumably quality financial advisors. I'm a 50-50 investor, Josh. Okay, I'm gonna put your Roth. You have $100,000. We'll put that in a I don't know, freaking the Wellington Fund. We'll just say that for an example. We'll say you're a 65-35 investor. I'm a 65-35 investor, Josh. So we'll put in the Wellington Fund in your Roth and the Wellington Fund in your freaking traditional IRA. 100% the wrong answer. That's absolutely the wrong answer, because the Roth grows tax-free to you, to your surviving spouse, and to your heirs. Everything that comes out of your IRA, of your 401k, of your TSP, of anything is coming out as taxed as ordinary income. Every single thing is taxed as ordinary income. So to have stocks in your IRA, now that's the only account that you have, which is all I got, by the way, other than my M1 Finance account, which I have. I don't have that much in it, but I'm plugging away some money in there now. Every single thing that comes out of your IRA comes out as ordinary income. So if you have bonds in your Roth, you are wrong. There's no other way around that. And I'm not saying this specifically to you, Sterling. I don't know you, but that's the wrong answer. And any advisor, if you're paying him a fee, he's got you bonds in your Roth, fire that guy immediately. Now, what they'll say, but Starling, you're a moderate investor. We have to have some Roth. We have to have some bonds in Roth and some in IRA. No. What you do in this case, going back to the 50-50, I've done. Hey, even Pablo doesn't like Roth bonds and Roth. What do you think about bonds, Pablo? Oh yeah, Pablo says I don't like them. Oh, yes. Oh, but it's okay. Anyway, I think he hears one of my kids. By the way, for you new folks here, I got 4 kids. One's at Tech. Tech got pummeled by Temple the other day. Hey, buddy, it's okay. Hey. Tech getting pummeled by Temple is not a good thing. Anyway, so what happens is your bond should be in your traditional IRA, because if once you take distributions out, they all come as ordinary income. And so if you have stocks in your traditional IRA, you're taking all the risk, man. You're taking all the risk, but you're only getting, say, 70% of the gain, because the other 30% is going to your state and the feds. And it might be 20%. I don't know what it's going to be, but ultimately someone's going to pay big tax on the money that comes out of your IRA. You're taking all the risk. You don't get any deduction, any write-offs if your market, if the value of your portfolio goes down in the IRA. You don't, unlike a taxable account, you can't write it off. It's all coming out as ordinary income, regardless of what the account value is. So no, we want your Roth aggressive. And I'll just, what I say to people all the time, your Roth, anything with dividends, heavy dividends should be in your Roth, ideally. If you want to have REITs, real estate investment trusts, I think those should be in a Roth too. But other than that, everything else should be stocks in the Roth, the things that can grow the most. So what I would say is like the VTV, which is a Vanguard Value Index ETF, that's perfect for Roth. And then if you want to put a growth index, you put that in a taxable account, and I'll get into that later on, maybe. But your IRA should be, if you have any bonds, that all should be in your IRA. Hope this helps, man. And I got some videos on that for sure. You can check in where I kind of do the circle back there. I don't want to do that here tonight because I didn't set this up probably appropriately enough. We got the big glare and whatnot, so I won't do it here. I'm trying a couple different ways with the channel. I do like doing it off my phone, and I'll do that again next week, where I have it on the tripod there. I can get back on the whiteboard. I just didn't do that tonight. I forgot why. All right. So Deke says from Alexandria. Oops. Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah. All right. Got that. Hey, what's up, big man? Yo, I know you got to go poop. Okay. All right. So my man, let's see if I can't get my daughter to take him. Hold on a second. I think he's got to go poop. Let me just text my daughter, see if she can take him. Hold on just a second. Chloe, can you take Pablo poopsies? All right. I'm on a live video. I can even put Chloe on if she comes down, which she should. I can even put her live so you can see. My wife did agree to be interviewed. Or at least to come on camera. We were going to do it on Friday, but we just got busy. I don't even know where the time goes, but I just say, come on, man, you got to be on here. I got Pablo on there. You got to be on there too. And she goes, okay. That means I got to get my makeup on. I said, no, you don't. No one cares. Hey, big man. All right. And some other questions on here. All right. So JD Thompson says, be careful the jumping up and down as dachshunds are prone to back issues, like jumping. I'm not sure what you mean there, my friend. Prone to back issues. All right, so we got, all right, so here's Deke from Alexandria. In a taxable brokerage account, compound exactly the same way as mutual funds in a 401k over time. All right, so my man Deke says, do taxable, all right, here she comes, cool. If you would have asked me a year and a half ago, would I be sitting here in my basement with a puppy dog who's got to go poop, I think, water coming down here with this, with over 100 people watching, I would have thought you're nuts. And we all probably are nuts that we're all doing this together, but it's all good. All right. So Deke says, do ETFs in a taxable brokerage account compound exactly the same way as mutual funds in a 401k over time? Yeah, I don't, sure. I mean, as long as you're not, I don't see why they wouldn't, Deke. Do they compound over time? I guess what you're saying is because there could be some taxable events on the ETFs that might, well, that's the thing about ETFs, especially Vanguard ETFs. There is no capital gain distributions you got to pay tax on. I guess the only drawback would be is if you have income off an ETF from it in terms of a dividend, you'd have to pay tax on that, and that would literally increase your cost basis, believe it or not. But I guess in some ways it theoretically could hurt performance if you're paying the taxes off the dividends that you receive in the ETF. But I would say yes, stands simple to that. Big A, if a person passed away at 75 or 80, does that affect the decision of doing a Roth conversion as opposed to people? Yeah, man, that's what we're gonna be working on, Big A. If a person, that is a great question. If a person is not expecting to live long, will that affect Roth conversions? And the answer to that is yes, but also maybe no. My man Alberto put him and his better half, Ann, had a good post the other day about not worrying so much about legacy planning. Now, Alberto has shared with us some more personal stuff on that as to why. And I think that's 100% right. He says, and I always say, you don't want to fly coach so your kids can fly first class. The drawback about not doing doing Roth conversions and dying soon is that essentially you're prepaying tax that you would never have to pay. Hey, thanks, girl. You want to come on and jump the stroll everybody yourself? Come on. Here, so I'm going to show it to you. No, Dad. There's Chloe right there. Hey, Chloe, say hi. Hi. Chloe, what? She's got her, hey, turn around so I can see your shirt that I got. Oh, you can't really see that, but that's Army, Marine Corps, Coast Guard, Air Force, and Navy. She's got a shirt that I got from USA. That's Chloe. She's my 10th grader. She just got back from homecoming last night, and she's still hungover. Oh, thanks, girl. Love you, pumpkin. All right. When you're done, if you want to come back in here, that's fine. All right. There ain't nothing better than being a dad, my friends. Let me tell you, especially if you can be a goofy dad. The only thing that's sad is when all my kids are out of the house, I'm still going to be goofy, and I won't have anyone to be goofy with. So I'll probably have to take about 20 more dogs at that point. All right. So going back to Big A's question, let's say you're 65 years old and you only expect to live till you're 80. That's only 15 years of tax-free growth, and that's assuming you're doing all the Roth conversions at once. So you're not. I just don't. There's not going to be much of a benefit in there at all, my man. Now, if you have kids like I got 4, and if it's important you to leave to a legacy to them that's not taxed to them, that would make a difference for sure. But then you got to go back to if they pass the stupid Secure Act. Where they have to take distributions out by within 5 or 10 years of receipt, i.e. when you die, then the Roth won't do you any good. I mean, it will do a little bit good, but won't do much. I have to assume the Secure Act or some variation of that is going to pass. Let me just explain, folks, what the Secure Act is. The House passed, I think only 3 voted against it. The Secure Act, and I forgot they had a, I can't remember what it's called. I forgot what the stupid thing was, but they passed it. It's kind of like when they have, the Affordable Care Act. Well, inherently it's not going to be affordable. They have the Patriot Act. Well, inherently it's not going to be for patriots. I mean, this is what they do. They pass all these laws with these cute names to say, this is for you. And it turns out to bite in the bud. The Secure Act, the drawback with the Secure Act, frankly, was that they're going to make it so you have, once a non-spousal beneficiary inherits an IRA or tax-deferred plan, they have to exhaust it within 10 years. That's a big deal. That's the wrong answer. The Senate version of that is a 5-year withdrawal. So I would just use Chloe. Say I leave Chloe $100,000 and say she's 40 years old. Under the current law, she gets stretched that $100,000 over the course of her life, which is a long, long time. Under the Secure Act, you'd have to take full, complete distributions of that $100,000 within the next 10 years. And if she's 40 or 50 years old, presumably she's making some good money at that point, which means it's just a big tax hit to her. But let's just say she's a freaking astronaut. She always thought about being an astronaut. Well, if she's an astronaut making bank, I have no idea what an astronaut makes, but just, pretend it's $500,000. Maybe she's a radiologist. I don't know. But she's making $500,000 a year. And let's just say she's single, because there ain't no man that's good enough for her. You know what I'm saying? No. And I'm not trying to pay for weddings. So we know Chloe's going to stay single because no man is good enough for her. And I don't have enough cash to pay for some insane wedding. I also have another daughter at Georgia Tech and the same thing. All right. So anyway, so now she's not getting married. She's making bank and she's all is good. And now she inherits $100,000 from her old dad and mom. And now she's, that's going to put her in the 37% tax bracket right out the gate. Plus the state of Georgia is 6, something like that. So she's losing 45 cents on the dollar. Whereas when I was, Charlotte and I were, just sitting on the porch, sawing on a fiddle, or whatever, we would have been a 10 to 12% tax bracket. So in that regard, we would have wanted to do a Roth conversion. So that way, when Chloe inherits the money, we pay 12% as opposed to her paying 45. But again, the drawback there is we still have to pay the taxes, Charlotte and me, and we might not have a pot to pee in at that point. So to leave Chloe $100,000 while we're freaking eating ramen noodles all day long is probably not the right answer. That's a tough one, Big A. I don't know the right answer for that. My inclinations, I probably would not do it if I don't plan on living beyond the ripe young age of 80. I hope that helps. I know it's kind of long-winded. Let's see. It's already retired. Oh man, that is funny. Pablo's already retired. He just turned 1. Oh man, can you do the same thing with a Roth 401k and a stable value fund for the last few? That's a good idea. I like that. Believe it or not. So the question is a stable value fund and a Roth 401k a couple years before you retire. I think that's a great strategy. You're always going to have the naysayers will say the opportunity cost, and rightly so, of not taking advantage of the tax-free growth of the Roth 401k, Jay Snyder 303. Because it's a benefit of the Roth, it grows tax-free. And so whatever growth you get is tax-free. I think, who was I was listening to? Nassim, Nicholas Taleb, in his book, Skin in the Game. He's saying the first rule of thumb of any, I don't think he says speculation, but of any kind of investing, I can't remember. He used a term for it, arbitrage. I can't remember. But anyway, the first rule of thumb is to survive. Any kind of risk taking, essentially. And when you're going into retirement, you're quitting your crappy old job to retire, you're taking on a risk inherently, but you got to survive. So I completely unequivocally could not agree with that more. And you survive better by having cash on the side. And if cash is in a Roth 401k, it just means it comes out tax free, which allows you to do the Roth conversions for what's remaining in your traditional 401k. So I think that's spot on, dude. I would have, or a lady, I'm not sure if you're the fairer sex or us ugly mutts, but I would absolutely be building up a Roth 401k in a stable value fund that's probably paying 2% or something like that. I think that's, or the G fund, my friends. If you're in the TSP, G fund's perfect for that, without question. Without question. If you get access to a Vanguard Ginnie Mae, my man Vermeet asked me the other day what my favorite bond fund was, and it's VFIIX, the Vanguard Ginnie Mae fund. And I've done many, many videos on Vanguard Ginnie Mae at the beginning of this year, comparing it to other things. Nope. Oh, he's coming? Okay. There you go. Did he go? Yeah. Hey, he go and poop? Yeah. Oh, sweet. So you picked it up? Where? Okay, hold on a second. Where is it? Out front or? It's in our yard. Okay. In the front or the back? All right, we'll just let that. Thanks, girl. Oh, did you give him a treat? Oh. Yeah, can you give him a treat real quick? Yeah. Just my beef jerky. We'll let that. You want to go get a treat? We'll let that fertilize. Actually, if you don't mind, bring it down, Claude. Just get to him here. All right. Thank you. You're the best. Oh, yeah. So VFIIX is the Vanguard Ginnie Mae fund. And the reason, so you got the G fund with the TSP, you got a stable value fund and a lot of 401k providers. And the Ginnie Mae fund is government, literally the government-backed mortgages from the government, not stupid Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. I presume those are, I don't know any more about those, but the Ginnie Mae is a government national mortgage association. And when I bought this house, I took a VA loan through Navy Federal Credit Union, and guess who guaranteed that VA loan? Well, it was the Ginnie Mae, the Government National Mortgage Association. Thank you, Pumpkin. Oh, you want to get it? Why don't you get it to him? Just tell me. Oh, good boy. All right, thanks, girl. He goes out. Thank you. Pardon the interruption. Man, the reason I like the Ginnie Mae is because the Vanguard one, if you go back to 1980, had one down year, 2015 or something like that, where it's down like 3%. It's just a great fund. You're not going to make a killing, but you're not going to get killed. And, for what's that, 40 years had one down year. And, you're probably average. I think right now the yield's like 2.5, maybe 2 3/4 or something like that. Pretty safe, man, because it's government bonds and literally government guaranteed bonds, not quasi-backed bonds. These are absolutely guaranteed. So I'm a huge fan of that for sure. You got James Mack from Warner Robins, right on, Georgia. Black Belt Shodan, what's up, man? My man Scott up in LJ said that's why he's converting all his 401k money to a Roth prior to filing for Social Security. Absolutely. That's the way to do it, Scott. AR-15, AR-10, and 5% of my precious metals, lead and copper. Did you hear? Colt's not manufacturing ARs anymore. All safe in northern Michigan. Right on. Right on. Except for the cold. Cold is coming. Mike says, yes, get Roth conversions done by 63 to avoid Medicare taxation as well. The dreaded Irma. My man Sergio on board. What's up in California, Sergio? Banner can kiss my butt is hilarious. Yeah, that guy with his fake tan. Yeah, I changed start time, man, because I was trying to get my Steelers fans not to come on board. Actually, I put Rob in my link. I said, all's welcome except Steeler fans. Actually, did the Steelers even play today? I don't think. Maybe the Ravens did, but I don't think that. I don't know. Tulsa, home in the house. Right on. Oh, man. Oops. Hold on a second. There's my man. White shoes. Jeez. We talked about this last time, but every time, calm down, white shoes. Oh, no, sirree, Bob. All right. So, want to convert traditional 401k from self-directed and convert to Roth 401k, but told to be taxed on my current income. That's right. That's 100%. Going to reinvest in Roth 401k. So why would be taxed on top of your income? That's the drawback with the Roth, man, is that when you're doing a Roth 401k, a Roth IRA, not only is the money going in taxed at your current income rate, but if you do any that'd be considered a contribution. But if you're doing any conversions, moving from a 401k or an IRA to it, it will be taxed whatever your rate of taxation is, because it all goes back to ordinary income. I mean, literally, you take it's the easiest thing in the world when you actually think about it. What is your income? All right. Well, if your income's $100,000 and you're married filing jointly, believe it or not, you're still in a 12% tax bracket because that is your AGI, your adjusted gross income, the gross income. If you're married filing jointly, you have two standard deductions. Charlotte and I have two standard deductions of $25,000, whatever it is. I don't even know. I guess 24.4. And so we have $100,000 as our AGI, subtract the standard deduction. We have 76,000, I guess, something like that, of taxable income, which puts us in the 12% bracket still. But if we do a $25,000 Roth conversion, now you got $125,000 of AGI. You subtract your roughly $25,000 of standard deductions. So now the bulk of that $25,000 Roth conversion is going to be taxed at 22%, because between basically 80,000 to roughly 100,000 in this case, that's a 22% tax bracket. So that's how it works. It's just adding to your ordinary income. And the reason for that is simple. When you take a distribution from an IRA or 401k, it's taxed as ordinary income. And a Roth conversion is literally a distribution from an IRA or 401k, and thus it'll be taxed as ordinary income as well. Hope that makes sense. I don't want to give you that. Oh, here you go. You can chomp on that, buddy. All right. So let's see. I keep waiting for Pablo to start talking like Arlo the reverse mortgage dog. Is it really an Arlo the reverse mortgage dog? Do you think Social Security will be means tested in the near future under President Warren? Nah, they kind of. No, I think what was going to happen is they're just going to tax more on the higher end for sure. I do think that some means testing is already here in terms of taxation, Social Security. I don't think Elizabeth Warren would mess with Social Security as it were. I think what they do, and this is what they do always do, and this is Republican and or Democrat, they put a structure in place that no one gets hit up front, but they will 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, either by not inflating it with the cost of living adjustments, or by saying, or by saying once you break the certain threshold of income, you will be taxed more and more and more. But it won't be means tested in terms of you're not going to, it could be, but as we sit here today, it won't be where they say you're not going to get this amount of money that you're entitled to because you have this other income. That would, I think that would make Social Security begin to lose its favorability without question. Because there are a lot of people that say, look, I don't mind paying into it. I just want to make sure I have a benefit of getting it back. And even FDR said that's why he put women on to begin with. The hero of the left, the guy who put those Japanese Americans in internment camps. And what did he not do the same thing with talents? Weird how that gets overlooked, but it's somehow Ronald Reagan was a Nazi. Odd. But anyway, even FDR said that he was going to put a cap on that because he wanted to make sure that everyone bought into Social Security. And he said if we tax people and don't give them a benefit for it, they'll lose their faith in the system. And I completely agree with that. If they're going to raise the limits on Social Security, the caps, and they limit your ability to get money from that, that's a big deal. I mean, that's literally it. I mean, we know it's a Ponzi scheme, but that might be a bridge too far, in my opinion. So we shall see. Like I said, Pablo's my advisor, says ISIS. Right on. Right on, Starling. Gotcha. A Roth for okay, there we go. You gotta go. When you gotta go, you gotta go. What do you think about retirement dated funds for your 401k? I got no problem with them. I know they get a lot of bad raps. I never quite understood the bad raps. I don't get it. It's just odd. I mean, like Vanguard target date funds are fine. I got no qualm with it. I mean, I would say if you were to buy a Vanguard 2020 target income that a target retirement fund under the auspices as all bonds, you're making a mistake. Because the whole point about it. All right, good boy. The whole point about the retirement target retirement funds is once you're retired, you still need income that's got to increase with the rate of inflation. So most of them, they should have a pretty significant exposure to stocks, even though it says just a 2020 or even a target retirement income fund, which says you're drawing income now. So I got no qualm with it. The drawback is they progressively get more conservative as you age. But like I said, at some point, you're still going to have a significant amount of stocks in there. When I say significant, 25, 30%. Simply because they have to keep a growing, an income stream that would increase with the rate of inflation. So I got no problem. The drawback was was it USA? I can't remember. There's a bunch of funds that are target retirement income funds, and they're a fund of funds. They invest in other funds. So they got their target retirement income funds, or retirement funds, excuse me, target dated funds. You're paying 1%, and then the funds under there, you're paying 1% as well. And it's a great way for a mutual fund manufacturer to get paid twice. They're saying, we're going to put you in these 4 or 5 target funds, these 4 or 5 mutual funds, and they're costing 1%. And then we're going to charge you 1% for the pleasure of putting you in these 4 funds. Flipping nuts, man. It's just theft. And they shouldn't get away with that, but they do. And if you ever so I don't like that. That's why, again, I like Vanguard, because we know for a fact that Vanguard funds are cheap. There's no other way around that. One reason to convert to Roth while receiving Social Security, you pay no income tax. Convert whatever amount still yields no tax. That's not correct, Steve. I'm gonna, like I said, I'll post this. I'll post this article, blog post here today. So Steve says one reason to convert to Roth while you're receiving Social Security is you pay no income tax. It could not be further from the truth. You absolutely do. You're pulling. The amount of money you're taking from an IRA is going to lead to pulling what was previously a tax-free income stream of Social Security. It's just what's called a provisional income. And if for all of you who are not familiar, I talk about provisional income in my book, The Tax Bomb in Your Retirement Account. And I go over nuts and bolts about how it works. And a lot of people actually also make a mistake saying municipal bond is tax-free. Well, it is tax-free from an income tax perspective, but it's not tax-free when it comes to paying taxes on Social Security, or if you're subject to the dreaded IRMA, the income related to Medicare adjustment amount or something like that. And that's just the premium increases on your Medicare premium. So be advised. Dashing breeds tend to have back problems. Gotcha. Really? Huh. My parents' rescue had to have major back surgery one too. Yikes. Jumping up and down off furniture can hurt their backs. Yeah, that's nuts. Because that's what old Pablo does. He likes to jump around. In fact, it's nuts. So Charlotte and I, in our bed is, I don't know, freaking probably 4 times the size of old Pablo when he's sitting on his 4 legs. He can jump the whole, he's like freaking, Superman. He jumps the whole thing. I'm sitting there saying, how the hell does he do that? He's got these tiny little legs like freaking toothpicks. Next thing I know, he's jumping like freaking, it's nuts. I say, how does he do that? It's insane. Ugh. No dad jokes. Does your daughter look like Arya Stark? Looked like Arya Stark. I don't know who that is. Oh, from the Game of Thrones thing? I'm not sure if that's a compliment. Is that the girl who killed the ice guy? Just jumped on his back and killed him? Like the ice guy was evil? It was evil, I tell you. Then she just, this like tiny little girl just jumps on his back and stabs him. That was just weird. Yeah, I think the Secure Act is 100% right. My man or lady, Jay Snyder, 303, I think that means Denver, right? Says the Secure Act is a future tax bomb. Could not agree with that more. Yeah, hit the like button for Pablo, says Gesman Z-Man. Right on. Love the Maine background. You like that? That's on my website. Yeah, that's I miss Maine. I do. I asked my brother the other day, "So you miss Maine at all?" I've been having some, what's the word I'm looking for? Sentimental feelings towards it. And he said, no. He said, no. He lives in Richmond. I said, not even the smell of salt water. He goes, nope, don't miss it. I mean, he misses the ocean, the shore, but in Richmond's a whole lot closer to the ocean than we are in Atlanta, Georgia. That's for sure. It's hard for me to see myself moving back to Maine. Let's just put it that way. And then when my better half said, nope, that put a crimp on that idea of ever moving back to Maine. I'd never live in Massachusetts. I can't take that. Never moved to Rhode Island, never moved to New York. Could handle Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is more my kind of people, but still maybe a little bit too cold. Virginia is probably Delaware, other than Delaware, Pennsylvania or Maine if I had to move back to the Northeast, but Virginia is still probably where we'll end up. It's just, Pennsylvania and Virginia pretty doggone close, but Virginia is probably, that's where 3 of our 4 were born. My wife was born. That's where we met. And it's all good there. And you got the water, you got the ocean, you got the mountains. Moderately conservative politics. I know the 2 senators are big libs. I get that, but the state as itself is still a pretty red state for the state house. And so they're not going to ban firearms or ban vaping or ban. They're not going to do that. So Virginia is still probably a nice place. The mountains of Georgia, though, Blue Ridge, Georgia. When I went to see my man, the Retirement Manifesto up there, Fritz, forgot his last name. Fritz Gilbert, I think. When I saw him, I could handle it up there, but still just a little bit too hot for old Josh. The heat's killing me, man. So we shall see. Retired now. America will not be free. Good timing. I don't know. It looks like a soccer ball person says, my life is trash. How do I improve it? Well, only you can do that, man. I mean, that's to improve your life is up to you. There's just no other way around that. My man Tom, who is having a debate of sorts. The nice thing about being on this platform is I can say you're wrong, and let me talk a video about it, and someone can only just email me back or comment, which gives you a little bit more authority, unfortunately, than some of the commenters. But Tom he's the guy who says he thinks active management can outperform. And I don't mean to say it can't. There are active funds that can, absolutely. But we don't know what they're going to be. That's the issue. We just don't know. And to look at American, I use the ICA or I use the Wellington Fund. You can use either because both go back to the 30s. The American Funds Investment Company of America has outperformed the S&P 500 since its founding, 1934. But it hasn't performed the S&P 500 for mass amounts of time within those time frames. I mean, a mass amount of time. So if you did not invest in 1934, you have not outperformed for the vast majority of time. But if you did invest in 1934, you're freaking living large. Unfortunately, none of us were around back then. Wellington's the same thing. We have many years where it did and many years where it didn't. The question is, will it going forward? And the answer is we don't know. I'd argue the Wellington inherently can't unless the markets go crazy down like Japan happened in 1990 to 2007. Because Wellington has a headwind of the bonds. And we know for a fact the bond rates of return are as simple as can be, whatever the yields are. That's it. You're not getting any more. You're not getting any less unless the bonds go kaput. So because we know the bonds are paying you, we'll just say 3 on average, we know for a fact that is the best you're going to get on 35% of the portfolio in Wellington. And if you look at Wellington over the last 10 years, it's a good fund. It's a great fund. It's a fund going back to Nassim Nicholas Taleb that says the first order of business is to survive. And so Wellington fits that perfectly because the 35% of headwinds of bonds aren't going to outperform the S&P 500, but they will allow you survivability. And when it comes to retirement, that actually takes preference over outperformance for sure. So I have not looked at the T. Rowe Price Active Plus portfolios. Lawnmower takes care of it. Don't take this wrong. I appreciate being here, Tom. I'm not trying to disparage you at all. Please don't take it disparagingly. I don't mind the debate. I like the debate. I enjoy it. Frankly, I just don't care. And I know that sounds disparaging. I don't mean it to be. I just don't care. I look at the funds I like are index funds with a couple of Vanguards. And the reason I like my Vanguard funds is simply because I believe in the theory behind them. The value index is still an event index because I believe the low price to earnings ratios, low price to books, and higher than average dividend yield is a foundation for success in the future. Absolutely. Whether or not that comes true, I don't know. I'm speculating. And I do believe the Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund, because there's a concentrated portfolio on dividend payers, it's only got 41 stocks in there. 41 stocks means it's concentrated. It means it has a high active share. So let me real quick share what active share means here. I'm sure I didn't explain that very well in the last video. All right, so we had some researchers that talk about active share. If you want outperformance, you have to look at active share. So you take 500 is the S&P 500. So you got 500 stocks in the S&P 500. All right, if you have a portfolio of 50 stocks, All right, so you got 50 stocks in your portfolio. The S&P 500 has 500. So you only have 10% of the S&P 500 in your portfolio. And what you do is you take 100% minus what is replicated of your stocks in your portfolio relative to the S&P 500, and you have an active share of 90%. I'm sure that doesn't make any sense, but you literally say, okay, the S&P 500 has 50, 500, I got 50, which is 10%, and I subtract 100 from that 10%, it gives me an active share of 90. And the reason that is a proven way to potentially outperform is because the concentration of the portfolio says if dividend stocks hit it, you're going to be the beneficiary of that. If tech stocks hit it, you will be the beneficiary of that. But what hits it at one time strikes out other times as well. And that is just that's not really debatable. Because everything reverts the mean when it comes to investing. So let's go back to Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund. They have 41 stocks. I don't know if S&P is my proxy, but we're going to hear. So I don't even know what that is. We got 41 stocks. So we take 41 divided by 500. That's not 82%, is it? I don't even know what that is. It's so an active share of 92%, I think. I'm not sure how you figure that out, but anyway, it's more than 90% would be the active share. Off the top of my head, I can't figure that out, but it'd be more than I'd have to think about that a little bit. Either way, it's going to be more than 90%. And if you want outperformance, that's what you got. So for me, a guy who believes in dividends, who believes in low price to earnings ratios, low price to book, and higher dividend yields and growing dividends as well, and who believes in active share, I'm speculating on that side of the equation, which is U.S. companies, large companies mainly with dividends and low price earnings multiples. And that's my risk because the last 10 years that hasn't worked out. But I think the next 10 years, because I do believe in everything reverts to the mean, it should be a good investment choice for me. We shall see. Yeah, lawnmower takes care of landmines. Hey, like I said to my wife, when old Josh dies, just throw me in the pit and let me decompose down there for fertilizer for sure. Because that's what the poop does. What do you think compost is, man? Black cow. You ever heard of black cow? Black cow, the mature manure. Black cow. Black with a K-O-W. Black cow. If you ever listen to the Dirt Doctor, Howard Garrett out of Texas, out of Dallas, they advertise on his podcast all the time. Black cow, the mature manure. Black cow. I actually got a T-shirt from Black Cow. All right, just turned 63, said my man Doug, Dougie Fresh. Retiring shortly. Is the Roth conversion even worth it? Just posted a couple tutorials on that, brother man. Yeah, I mean, sure. But read my blogs. I just literally posted married. Before RMDs and before Social Security, I showed you the pros and cons of that for sure. So I think the answer to that is unequivocally yes. Whether it's worth it specifically, I don't know. But I would absolutely say just read my blog post on that, a soon forthcoming book on that as well, because I actually am getting a kick out of that. I don't have to tell myself, all right, now we got to go do this. I actually enjoy that a lot because it's a lot of 1040, looking at 1040s and stuff, which is fun. Yeah, there you go. Mike C says, good point. Don't convert out all of your traditional IRA. Keep some unconverted to use for future charitable contributions. Could not agree with that more. The QCDs, the Qualified Charitable Distribution Rules, once you hit RMD age, you can give money directly to a charity. It bypasses you. So even if you have a standard deduction, you don't have to worry about not getting a charitable write-off. You're not going to get a charitable write-off anyway because it doesn't show up as income. So once you hit 70 and a half and you want to give to the church or whatever, if you want to give to the Pablo Fund and he's a 501(c)(3) or 501(c)(3)(1), whatever it's called, you can do directly to that organization and it bypasses your 1040 outright. It's a wonderful, wonderful rule. So I'm a big fan of that for sure. Friendswood, Texas in the house. Never heard of Friendswood, but I imagine it's a nice place to be because it's in Texas and they're friendly. Did the Secure Act pass? Like I said, the House, it did by 405 to 3, Ms. Tweedy. But the Senate, I'm not sure where it sits in the Senate, to be honest with you. Need some cold weather down there in Texas. It's coming. Cedar Creek is still warm. It's warm here too, man. Freaking global warming is killing me. Woo, 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 woo. All that CO2. But here, just wait a few more months. I'll be wishing we had more global warming. It's funny how the global warming alarmists say it's when it's in the wintertime, they say it's weather, it's not warm, it's not the climate. And then they come the summertime, we have a small heat wave. It's global warming. So wait, what happened to it being weather, not climate? It's just weird how that works. Should a pension be considered as an asset as part of an asset allocation? Hey, there you go. There's my man, Jerry. Okay, so I'm gonna make you a moderator too. All right, cool. All right, on. And Jerry's got a channel as well. In fact, a couple guys on here. Texas Country, I forgot what it was. GW Life TV. I'm not sure who else got channels on here, but by all means, if you guys want to look at some partake and you want to throw your channel links in there, by all means do so. I got no qualm with that at all. So if y'all have a channel that you want to throw down there into the notes and the comments, by all means do so, man. So Starlink, should a pension be considered an asset? Oh man, did I have that white thing on my thing all this time? The answer to that is yes. It should be looked at a bond portion of your portfolio, Starlink, for sure. It's tough though, because I'm just telling you right now, it sounds good in theory to look at your pension and Social Security as the bond aspect of your portfolio, because it literally is that. Other than it's not liquid. The drawback though is if you have big pension, or it doesn't matter big, you have some sort of a pension plus Social Security, and we're looking at that as a bond, that's going to increase your bond holding significantly, which is now the real liquid assets will be heavy into stocks, and it's inevitable. The market default 25% happens once every 4 years. Unfortunately, it's completely random. There's no structure. It doesn't go up, down, up, down. But we know historically the markets fall 25% once every 4 years. And so if you're looking at your pension and your Social Security as part of the bond mix, and now you got your $300,000 IRA all in stocks, and now the stocks are down, 55%. Don't forget, from 2007 to March 9th of 2009. That $300,000 is worth what, 130 at that point, something like that. Well, at least your bond portfolio is still doing good. And that's tough. That's a tough bridge that's a tough bridge, man. So the answer is yes. Theoretically, realistically, probably not, because that's going to make you too aggressive in stocks, which sounds good in theory, but once the markets fall, that's a tough place to be. Not a fan of Elizabeth Warren because she's fake. I tell you, man. And I tell you, Bernie screwed up. I say this to him blue in the face. I don't like Bernie. I don't trust him as far as I could kick him. But he had an aspect to him that was he fell in with Clinton. They gave him the dollar and he went with it, and he should not have done that. He could have had a bigger stay in this matter, but he's done for. I was somewhat a fan of Tulsi Gabbard. I just like the fact that she's not afraid to take on the Democrats to some degree, but she's still out there. She's got to play the anti-Trump card. It just bores me. Look, not trying to be political here, but the minute these people raise their hand for healthcare for illegal immigrants, well, we're all freaking suffering to freaking find out where we're going to pay that $2,000 a month premium. They all lost my vote. I mean, not that they're ever going to get it, no way, but I always vacillate between the Libertarian Party. Notice, by the way, for you libertarians out there who always argued that Bill Weld was a libertarian, can you now have pie in your face? That guy was never a libertarian. That guy just did it to have his name, to raise money, to say he's libertarian. Bull flipping crap. That guy's the typical John McCain type Republican. No other way around it. At least Gary Johnson was for legalizing marijuana back in the late 90s when he was governor of New Mexico. Whereas Bill Weld, he's still putting people in jail for that. So Bill Weld can kiss my butt too. The idea the Libertarian Party took that guy on is nuts. And that's why I can't trust the Libertarians as far as I can kick them. Can't trust Republicans as far as I can kick them. The Democrats are dead to me, even though I was raised on the left, as I said many a time. So the only alternative is a Trumpster. That's it. And there's no other way to go. I'm not going Bernie. You're not going to do that. You're not going, well, Biden's done for. I even said that before the stupid Ukraine stuff, and that's not going to hurt Trump. I'm not worried about that at all. But Biden is it's just the guy's an ass clown. Let's just admit that. Elizabeth Warren, I mean, come on. And she's fake, but Bernie, if he played his cards, he could have been the challenge, and he didn't. And I'm glad he did not, because that means he won't win. And I think he might have, actually, believe it or not. If he would have beaten Hillary, I think Bernie would have been president. I really, really do. But he sold his soul for what did he sell his soul for? Sold his soul for rock and roll. All right, Happy Valley. My man Jesse, retired 55 with pension, 401k, converting to Roth IRA, 85 days left at work, but who's counting? Thanks for all the best information. God, man, right on. That's good job, retiring at 55. My inclination is my man Jesse here, who's retiring at 55, isn't going to be sitting there just smoking freaking cigarettes and playing shuffleboard. I have a sneaky suspicion there's going to be other things to tackle, which is what retirement is. Everyone thinks retirement is just sitting around picking your nose. It's not. Retirement is actually doing some stuff. Like I was talking about this guy, airplane mechanic in the USMC, 18 years old, learned the airplane skill trade. He's about to retire at 59. He's going to go work on cars in a shop that he's going to build this big, I forgot what size garage, 30 by 90 or something like that. I can't remember. But anyway, that's not retiring. That's retiring from a job, but it's retiring to do something that he enjoys, which inherently will keep him active, keep him sprite, and keep his mind functioning for sure. My man Steve says, we hold 100,000 in his Vanguard Ginnie Mae as part of our fixed. That's right on, brother. Right on. That's fantastic, Steve. I think that's a great move. When I retire, if I could have 100,000 of whatever that equivalent is at that point in Ginnie Mae and have everything else in stocks plus Social Security, it's not a bad place to, and no debt. That's the whole point. No debt. That's not a bad place to be. Romney Braun says, I'm 53, rolling over $33,000 pension, not much in the way of savings. What Vanguard 401k would you use? Yeah, I can't answer that, brother. I don't know anything about your circumstance, your risk tolerance, their debt. There's just no way I can give a piece of investment advice with that. I might be disillusioned to some regard, but in my business, of which I've been in for 25 years, giving specific investment advice without KYC, know your customer, is a huge no-no, and I just won't do that. So sorry, man. My man Theo says, I never heard that charitable contributions are not taxed. One from a traditional IRA. They're not, other than the fact you have to be of RMD age, Theo. You got to be 70 and a half for that not to be taxed. They are still taxed to you. You just get an offsetting charitable deduction. But if you're doing standard deductions, which the vast majority of us are. In fact, the Tax Foundation found that only 9% of American taxpayers itemized in 2018. And the vast majority of those were in the 1% income range. So let's just imagine most of us on this who are watching this right now are not in that 1%. So I'm going to assume the vast majority of us are standard deductions. So if you do a $20,000 contribution to a charity, that'll probably keep it itemized. So let's say you do a $5,000 contribution to a charity and you get $5,000 of homeowners interest, $5,000 of something else. You're not going to have enough to itemize. So all that money is being standard deduction, which is a good thing, but you're not getting the write-off unless you're 70 years old. And once you're 70, you don't actually get the write-off because it doesn't make its way to you. The amount of money you're sending to the charity from your IRA bypasses you outright. Thus, there's no 1099. Thus, it doesn't show up on your 1040. So you have to have a corresponding charitable deduction that you get from the charity. I know that's kind of confusing, but just keep that in mind. All right. My man Rob, I presently run the finance of my home, but the day will come when I get hit by a bus, can no longer absorb you. The wife is basically clueless about finances. Yeah, man, freaking old Charlotte upstairs. I'm like, dude, do you even know how to log in? And I said, do you even know, like, on my YouTube? When I'm dead, people still probably watching, still probably have some money coming in. Do you even know how? Nah, I'll worry about that later. And I don't blame her. She got 4 kids to worry about. She does work, which I said, look, just do it for the rest of the tax year, because in CPA firms, they're freaking nuts right around now, and then they'll be nuts at the beginning of the year until the middle of April. I said, please quit. I'm making enough money now. You don't have to work. because she stays home on Friday, which is just freaking awesome. Now she'll probably kill me because I'm around all the time, but I lock myself up in my office. But I got to tell her how this works because she wouldn't know what to do. And that's a challenge. And so you have to find somebody who will know what to do. And my guy's Jordan, as I said all the time over at Creative Planning. I said, just go talk to my man, Jordan. And I've had a couple people say, we need a Jordan in case you die. And I get that. But you got to find a guy or a lady. I don't care. You got to find somebody. Again, for you, those of you who are new here, I say guy. It's gender inclusive. All right. I'm not excluding the ladies in here. I'm saying guy because that's what we said when I grew up. Hey, guys. The idea people find that offensive is nuts. But you never know. You got to cover all bases because I don't want to be, cancel cultured, where you tell YouTube that I was being discriminatory against the better half of us. Anyway, so back to my man Rob, the Steelers fan and the Penguins fan. You got to find somebody that you can say, look, if something happens to me, talk to this guy. All right. And I mean, I can be that person for some. I can't be that person for all the people on my YouTube channel, that's for sure, because then I'd want to kill myself. But I would highly encourage you to find somebody, not just Rob, but anyone out there for your spouse. And a lot of times as a wife, she's too busy running the day-to-day thing with the kids. I know that's exactly what my wife does. In fact, we're just talking about stories today, as a matter of fact. In fact, my wife, one of my good friends from high school, we went to his wedding, and I remember it. I was like, I couldn't remember. This is nuts. Anyway, and I don't even remember my kids' names half the time. And so that's what my wife does. She makes sure the kids aren't about to, freaking jump off a bridge, where I just take care of the finances. But you got to find somebody you can tell, hey, just talk to this guy. He trusts you, and he has a right to get paid. Now, my man Jordan has the right to get paid. I don't mind paying a guy financial planning fees for the burden of my wife not getting rooked by some slick oil salesman, if that makes sense. How can I plan for her? I think you got to start with a letter for sure, Rob. Just something that says, do this, do that, do this, don't do this, no matter what, don't do this. I haven't done that. I just say call Jordan. Now, will Jordan be with Creative Planning? Will he still be around? I mean, he is a big SEC fan. That kind of ticks me off. But at least he's from Utah, so he came over here. So he's a late comer to the game, my man Jordan. But he's a young guy too. That's another reason I like him, because he's young. But he's got 5 kids, and we're similar minded. Actually, let's see if I can show you this picture. You want to see something nuts? This will be worth the fee that you pay to be on this thing. See if I can't find it. Don't be stupid. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here in a second. Oops. Oh, I'm going to sneeze once. Excuse me. If I can find this picture, it is insanely nuts. I kept it. Oh, man. Oops. Hold on. I'm not going to be able to find it. So my man Jordan, and this is the guy I want my wife to talk to if something happens to me. He had a change. This is why I tell people, don't flip and get on ladders. Tell your stupid husbands to stay off ladders. For the love of the good Lord, please. No, that's not it. I guess I can't find it. Oh, man. Hey, buddy. Nope, I don't have it anymore. All right, wait. Long story short, he was taking down some trees in his backyard, and his friend came over, and they're trying to, I forgot what he was saying to do, but anyway, the chainsaw slit literally a huge right across his chest. It's flipping nuts. And it was a day we were doing a seminar at USAA that he did it that morning or the night before, I think. I can't remember. And I was like, and he showed me this pit. I said, dude, do you realize how, and he knows how lucky he is to be alive. It's this chaw right across his chest with a chainsaw. Don't get on a ladder. Don't be engaging activity that you think you can do because you saw some dude on YouTube. Hire that stuff out, man, please, for the love of the good Lord, because that, I mean, I know it sounds, fantasy that it's not going to happen, but it happens, and it happens to some people. And I don't want you living your life all in fear like Greta, whatever her name is. But, there are some things you should not be doing, which is, unless you're a quality expert at something, probably should not be doing chainsaws and go put a chainsaw above your head. That's insane. So anyway, so don't do that, Rob. Is it true that government is changing the Social Security formula by 2021? Meaning next year I take Social Security at 64. I get it 86%, but if I wait till I'm 60, yeah, I don't know. I saw Devin Carroll had a thing where Social Security changes in 2020. I'd never watched that video. I should actually. I think I might have. I just forgot what it was. So I can't say if it's true or not. Herbie Lena. I just don't know. Devin's stuff on that is good. He keeps. See, I like the tax stuff. Hey, thanks for donations, folks. I'm much obliged. I can't tell you how appreciative it is. So much obliged. My man Devin, he keeps up on that stuff, on the stuff coming down the pike more so than I say. I like the tax. That's what I was going to say. The tax is what gets me fired up. With Devin, Social Security, he knows it back and forth better than most financial advisors. Not necessarily better than most. Well, I would say better than most academics. Better than absolutely, without question. So if there's anything that's coming down the pike, I will learn it from his stuff for sure, because he's on it like white on rice. And that I don't want to say it bores me, but that's just on my area of excitement. My area of excitement is on taxes, which is kind of weird. But my mom was an accountant. So, she it's weird the way you learn from your parents. She never trained me to be tax or anything like that, but I'll remember like it was yesterday. She'd go to the library, look at these value line books, these old stock charts were something called value line. You go to the library, they'd be thick, like a freaking is nuts, like an encyclopedia. And I can't remember if she took it home or maybe she even bought one, but she'd be, going through the value line charts on stocks and whatnot. Hell, I was probably 13 years old or something like that. And I said, what is that? And so she would tell me about stocks, which is weird because, she was... She was a hippie, so it's kind of strange. But she's one of the old school hippies. She's changed since then. She's a big Bernie supporter. She actually posted on Facebook the other day that my wife said, because I'm no longer on Facebook, and my life has been a lot calmer. She goes, I can't believe I raised 3 Trump supporters. My brother, my sister, and me. She's a big Bernie guy. Just shows you, man. You never know. All right. Let's see. Doesn't Wayne Fowl day investments should get more? Yeah. So Wayne, Wayne says, hey, appreciate it. That's another. Y'all gonna make me cry, man. Send money my way. It's nuts. Wayne does talk about or the kid says too. I think they call this smile, that you start off heavy on the bonds without rebalancing. And that wasn't a smile. They start off heavy on the bonds, and then your bond portfolio gradually, or I guess it could be like this: less heavy on stocks, but you slowly eat away at your bonds. You're taking the bonds as distributions, and then you're left with a bunch of stocks. I don't have a problem with that. Hey, that's what I want to do. I want to tell you, this is a strategy. Remember my USMC guy I just told you about? Some of these guys actually have a brain up in that freaking jar head of theirs. Saying it joking, my friends. This guy has I never, ever thought about this. I'm going to share with you this strategy. This was flipping nuts. So this guy's telling me he's going to annuitize everything right out the gate. I said, I might as well. Anyway, and I started thinking, so what he's going to do? He's let's say you got $500,000, and we'll just say, for example, you got $500,000. That's what we're just going to say, and you're getting 6% annuity. So what's that times? Is that $30,000 a year? $500,000 times 0.06. Yeah, $30,000 a year. So he's saying he's going to get $30,000 a year from his investments. I think he's getting $24,000 a year from his pension and $24,000 a year from Social Security. We'll just use that for example. So between all that stuff, he's going to get and his wife is getting some. It's going to be like $90,000 a year of income. The only thing that's adjusted for inflation is Social Security, but he only spends $30,000 a year because he's got no mortgage. So think about it like this: your dollar cost averaging, you're locking in. So I get a lot of people think the markets are at record highs and they're doomed. And I get that, but in this guy's case, He's like, look, why even bother? I'm just going to take it as an income stream. I'm not going to spend that money. I mean, I'll spend some of it, but I'm not going to spend that much. So I'm going to take what I don't spend and just either reinvest in a checking or savings account or a bank account of some sort or in the market. And I never ever thought about that. I said, man, I love that story. I haven't done it on, the right capital or anything yet. I haven't even modeled it out, but I'm starting to think if you're about ready to retire and you're worried about sequence of return risk, just annuitize everything, right? And then whatever you get that you don't spend, you put into the market, because if the market does take a dump, you are then going to buy low and you are out of the market for that drop to happen. And if the market doesn't take a dump, well, who cares? You still, you still have enough income to live on, more so, and you can reinvest it back in. And I got to think that through. The only thing I could possibly see is by doing that is you'll be creating more taxes on the front end because those annuities are coming out where, again, he could have deferred them, done Roth for them. But I hope that makes sense. I got to dive into this deeper. I thought as a way to avoid sequence of return risk, that isn't a bad strategy at all. And sequence of return risk are literally when you're saying, I don't want to retire when the market is getting killed. That's bad. And anyway, so I have to think on that. I gotta run that. So it's bear with me. I'll do a picture on that. So my man Peter says, how do we invest in qualified dividends in a taxable account? Are there certain stocks or ETFs? Yeah, the bulk of them, Peter, are going to be qualified dividends. And I would just do a mutual fund or an ETF. I mean, so I like the Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund. I presume all of them are going to be qualified dividends. And you got 40 to 45 stocks that they choose. The fees as 22%, 22 basis points of the expense ratio. Personally, I wouldn't even mess with stocks. I just do that, to be perfectly honest with you. And then qualified dividends, there you go. Taxable account works perfectly. No, thanks, Rob. You got it, brother, man. And I'm just joking you, of course, what I say about the Steelers. I have to thank Josh's videos and double check with my HR nationwide 401k advisors. Hey, look at that, my man. We're getting some. Yeah, thanks, man. We're getting some. We're getting my moderators, getting some of these people off here. That's freaking awesome. Hey, Jesse says, have a steak on me. Trust me. Oh, man, life is good. All right, let's see what else we got here. Hot in Carolina, right on, man. Global warming is killing Montana right now with snow. Actually, I'm taking my daughter to Seattle here in a couple of weeks. That girl who you just saw, the Arya Stark, whatever her name is, where I was like, hope it doesn't do like that when we go to Seattle. All right, so so my man Tom, Fidelity's got a diversified international fund, which is flipping awesome. T. Rowe Price, had an equity income fund, which is awesome. All those funds are good. I got no qualm with that. It's about the fees, man. If you can get an active managed fund with a low fee structure, usually the same manager, not a lot of turnover, I'm not going to argue with that. I just find that some of these guys act as if their investment prowess is worth a 1% fee, and it simply is not. So if I can get a T. Rowe Price fund at 65 bips or an American funds at 65 basis points that has low turnover, doesn't trade a lot, quality stocks. Look, man, you're not going to go wrong. You're just not going to go wrong. The issue is a lot of these, I'm just telling a lot of these gurus out there say, oh, we can beat the market. And hold on, Pablo, what are you doing, buddy? And it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And the facts are the vast majority of people can't, and they can't do it consistently. But even worse, you don't know which ones will. You can't predict it. So let's see. Hey, thanks, Rich. I will have a cup of coffee on you. I appreciate that, brother, man. Jump up and down on furniture is a Chihuahua trait. That oh, this guy is such a nut. Let's see. All right. I didn't know. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Right on. As long as qualified charitable distribution, right on, Mike C. QCD, Theo, QCD. That's qualified charitable distributions. Nationwide, for I feel for it. My wife is in Nationwide, like 67 for their S&P 500. See, that ticks me. That's there's a firm out who deals with electrical co-ops, and they were charging like 85 basis points for the S&P 500, and that's the wrong answer. You all right there back there? All right. Wade Fowl says to spend bonds and cash. My man Sergio says Wade Fowl spend bonds and cash over the first 10 years in retirement to avoid sequence risk. He calls this rising equity glide path. There you go. No, right on. Rising equity glide path. That's spot on, dude. 12 averaging 12% returns the last 4 years. If that's what my man Tom was saying too the other day. He was averaging 14. I didn't ask him how long. That it's irrelevant, Jesse. Literally, I mean, look, I'm not saying it's good, bad, or it doesn't matter. Well, all the thing that matters is what we're going to get going forward, and that's the concern. The concern is going forward. You just can't have the markets tanking on your watch as you're stepping into retirement. So, what are you doing there, big guy? What do you see back here? So what I would suggest is, build up a cash portfolio, TSP, stable value, something like that. A G fund, if you're in the TSP, stable value fund, a Vanguard, Ginnie Mae, to avoid the sequence of return risk. Even though you got a good return over the last 4, we given that you're about to retire, you can't afford that slump. It's and going back to what Sergio was saying about Wade Fowl, the rising equity glide path. I just 100% agree with that for sure. My man Bruce, all right. Bruce sent me a picture of turkeys up in New York, and you know what Southern turkeys say, right? Gobble gobble. You know what Northern turkeys say? Gobble gobble, because they have a different accent. That's pretty funny. My Bruce says 457. The advisor for the area put me in ETFs that paid her a fee, as well as a salary the company paid her, and asked about fees, and she said no. It's like these annuity guys. There are no fees. There are no fee or no commissions. I don't get paid. And you're like, oh, you're just doing this for the for your altruistic, huh? Oh, not really. Yeah, of course. American fund. I'm a big fan of American funds too. So I mean, look, again, I like Vanguard active managed funds. Fidelity's got a couple in there. T. Rowe Price, American funds. I am not against active management. I just don't like the idea of advisors out there saying their 1% fee is worth it because of investment performance, because that's insanely silly. And advisors who argue that way are either ignorant, right, because they don't know what the hell they're talking about, which is bad, or they're or they don't know their butt from a hole in the ground. Not being ignorant, but being stupid. One of those two things. That does not mean you should not buy active funds. It just means we can't sit here and say active outperforms, because there's just no validity to that. We don't have any evidence of that whatsoever. Are there some active funds over a course of XYZ time that have outperformed? Inherently, it has to happen. That has to happen. There will be something that outperforms the index. It's inevitable for that to happen. Over that's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30-year time frame. Is it the same fund? The answer is not. I just look at Davis New York Venture Fund, Legg Mason Value Trust Fund, wonderful funds. Chris Davis ran the New York Venture Fund, a great fund manager. Bill Miller ran the Value Trust Fund, a great fund manager. They had huge years of outperformance and huge years of looking like the biggest maroons that you've ever seen. They're still good managers, but that's the thing with active management. There comes a time when their bets go south, and because of that, they look like dogs, but they're not dogs. They just had a bad couple of years. They bet wrong. Brown cows. Oops. All right. Brown cows don't give chocolate milk. Josh, we convert traditional IRA to Roth. We have 365,000 deferred comp. Traditional 401k is 220 in Roth, 34 in annual retirement, and military and state government expect 31 in Social Security in a couple of years. Michaela, I guess that's Michaela. I mean, my default is you got to convince yourself why not to do it. That's what I'll say there. The answer is my default is you should be converting unless you can find a way not to. Now, I deal with a lot of military folks that have those pensions like you're talking about. And sometimes that can be problematic when it comes to, hey, buddy, hey, come here. What you got? Come here. Okay. Never mind. You're good. Sometimes that can be problematic because you're pulling taxes for that might never get paid while you're alive because the pension wipes out the standard deductions. But at the end of the day, when all's said and done, we're going to have Medicare premiums that you're going to have to contend with later on because of IRMA. You're going to have higher tax brackets come 2026 if the Trump tax bill goes away. Never mind even higher tax brackets on top of that. You may or may not have tax on Social Security. It depends on what happens to the 2100 Act. I just don't know. So there's a lot of I don't know there. But again, my default is to convert, especially if you're married, filing jointly. Find a reason not to convert. Find evidence to show you why you shouldn't. Hope that helps. Yeah, everyone says is it too late to do Roth conversions? It's never too late. The question is, does it make sense to do it? And my next blog post on that will show you that if you're in your 70s, whether or not it makes sense. I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. And I'm going to use a case, a couple married filing jointly. Then we'll go back to singles. I get a lot of people say, I'm single. You can do something for singles. I hear you loud and clear. We're going to do the married and then we're going to do the singles. So hang in there. And this will be a book. And once I'm done with this, I can put it all in a book and probably have a intro chapter and an exit chapter and put it on there. And so this will probably be done here in the next couple of weeks, which is pretty cool because I enjoy it. The course is coming along. I just do videos really right here on that whiteboard right there. So the course is coming along nicely. Yeah, there you go. My man Jerry. Here's his YouTube channel, folks. Yeah, and Tom says max out 401k if you have access. Roth if you make under the threshold. Invest any extra money in a taxable account. No qualm there. Brett, is 600k in accounts enough to retire at 65 with 48 annual? All right, so Jerry is either knowledgeable or he's learned, but either way, he has the right answer. So let me ask you a question, my friends. You're probably well beyond what I'm reading here. So my man Brett says is 600,000. He's got a picture of one of those big, not collie dogs, like poodle, those big tall poodle dogs, poodle doodles or whatever. Oh, those dogs are freaking awesome. I love them. Anyway, so Brett says is 600,000 in accounts enough to retire on at 65 with 48,000 in Social Security. There is no answer to that until you do what my man Jerry did, which is it depends on your needs. That's all that matters. Kudos, Jerry. If you don't know your needs, there's no way someone can answer if you have enough to retire on. And your needs are your expenses. In fact, I tell you, on my course, which I'm working on, I spend an inordinate, whatever that word is, a lot. I was trying to be smart, but I'm from Maine, so we don't have big words. I spend a lot of time digesting expenses because everyone wants to ask. And Brett, I'm not bagging you here. Everyone wants to know, can I retire with this amount of money and this amount of income? That is literally the least of your concern. Your concern is how much do I need to live on? That's all that matters. And if we don't know that, it's a crapshoot. And we got to not just know how much you need to live on, but what your taxes are, because that is a big thing. What your housing expenditures are, your property taxes, what it costs to turn your lights on. I tell you, I don't have my thing up here, but we did a lot of insulation last couple of years in this home right here. And my electric bill, even though the global warming is here, is way down in terms of kilowatt hours used per month. It's nuts how much this summer was less than last. And last summer was a cool summer. It's nuts. And I would attribute that mainly it's the insulation we have in here. I also do a lot of grilling outside, so we're not using the oven on in the summertime, which is stupid. Don't do that. But I always do that anyway. Hell, I grill in the wintertime. But anyway, so if we don't know these things, Or if we presume I make $100,000 a year, I need 80% of that to live on. Well, where's that coming from? Well, that's what everybody says I need. Screw that, man. That's not enough. That's not good enough. What is it you need to live on? What is it you need to live on? And if we don't know, we can't figure anything out. That's all there is to it. And everyone focuses on the asset and income part, and they just kind of look, like redheaded stepchild on the expenses. And it should be the exact opposite. This is what pisses me off about all these freaking naysayers, all these Greta Thunbergs of retirement planning. Oh my God, the world's on fire. It's all crisis. Fire and brimstone stuff. We can't retire. No one has enough savings. If you're making $3,000 a month in Social Security and you only need $3,000 a month to live on, you're going to be FINE fine, or FINE fine, FINE fine, FINE fine. Remember that old song, FINE fine, from the late 90s, some pop song? Anyway, you're going to be okay. If you need $3,000 a month and you have $3,000 a month on Social Security, you are good to go. That's all there is to it. And so the idea that you don't have $50,000 saved, well, if you're social your expenses, what's the problem? Especially if you have a home that you paid for, then you can take a reverse mortgage. All right. Jeff here. Right on, Jeff. And Jeff is outside mowing. Oh, yeah, that's right. Jeff doesn't have to mow because he has a robot to mow when it gets hot. Love the bucket strategy. Right on. Bucket strategy. Right on, Starling. Leave taxable accounts as well. Realizing this could leave a few first-class tickets out there. Yep. Taxable accounts are a great inheritance for sure. What do I think will happen in emerging markets if Trump limits Chinese investments? I have no idea. No idea, Mike. I just don't know. I have none. I was talking to my daughter about this yesterday. As a matter of fact, my oldest at Tech, not Arya Stark there. My oldest, who's down at Tech, she's taking an economics class, and we're talking about it. And just the amazing world, how it's changed over the last 150 years, but how some countries have been left behind. And the reason they've been left behind isn't because of the lack of intelligence of its people, the lack of Christianity, the lack of, I guess you could attribute some of that to Christianity, but it's not necessarily that. It's the lack of a government that respects private property rights and personal freedom. You look at Rhodesia. Do y'all know what Rhodesia became? Well, Rhodesia, while it's horrific in terms of what the white settlers from the UK did to the black folks down there, at the end of the day, it was a booming, bountiful country. Then Mugabe took over, a freedom fighter similar to Castro, and all the lefties in America loved this guy, and he became a tyrannical dictator who killed his enemies, black and white. And Zimbabwe is a flipping nightmare now. Rhodesia was a breadbasket of Africa, and now it doesn't know how to grow his own coffee. And my man Skip went down there to Zimbabwe because he's a minister out in Missouri, and he just is depressing. They've just lost the knowledge on how to do things. Not all of them. There's some folks out there, and I imagine the ones that are out there who want to learn and prosper are probably trying to emigrate here. Welcome aboard, my friends. But it's just sad. The culture has been permeated over 4 decades by thugs. And because of that, there's no reason to save, no reason to be frugal, no reason to hope for the future, because you don't know if Mugabe's thugs are going to come and take you out. And it's like that all through a lot of these emerging markets. And so it's their economies are freaking basket cases, not because the people are, because of government. And I'd no longer invest in emerging markets. I told my daughter, I said, it's funny. The first ever fund I invested in was the Montgomery Emerging Markets Fund in 1994. So I got this Forbes magazine, and it said the best funds or whatever. I can't remember what it said. And the number one fund was the Montgomery Emerging Markets Fund. So I'm going to invest. I had like $2,500. I put it in there. And I think it's gone now. And again, survivorship bias, that won't show up with the performance reports of actively managed funds. But long story short, emerging markets are, feast or famine. Unfortunately, feast or famine is not steady as she goes. Feast or famine is the way you don't make compounding interest. That's for sure. Compounding interest is steady as she goes. Feast or famine, you just get knocked around. And because of that, you're going to be hard pressed to make a lot of money in those economies as an investor. So I say, screw it. Just going to the good old fashioned US of A, and I'll be done with it. And it's just sad, man. I mean, you look at, the way these emerging markets have done to their people, all while the West has sat there and said, yeah, it's okay. Mugabe, Castro, what's that dude's name in freaking Tanzania? Joseph, another guy there. I mean, all these guys, man, they all had the support of the elitist liberals here in the U.S., drinking their champagne, supporting the communists, and yet all the people were the ones who suffered. It's horrific. It just it breaks your heart. It breaks your heart, which is why I do welcome immigration. I do believe we have a right to police our borders to see who comes in. But if you're a friggin' enterprising guy from Zimbabwe and you want to come to the U.S., man, I'd take you over friggin' 10 of these people we got here. I'll tell you that right now. Oh, yeah. All right. My man Steve says, we're 4 years out from retirement. Should we continue contributing to retirement accounts or pay off mortgage in 4 years? Man, I get this question a lot. I mean, it depends on if you're getting a match. If you're getting a match, you certainly contribute for the match. I just say at the end of the day, you want a couple years of cash on the side. Regardless if you have a mortgage, I would have a couple years cash on the side, be in a stable value fund within a retirement account or just a share a certificate account at the bank. But I think it's wise to have a couple years cash in an account for sure, even if you got to carry a mortgage for a couple more years. Yeah, right on, man. First thing you need to do before you retire, says my waste of time, is ask how much you spend now. Track your money down to the dollar. Then you can ask if you're ready. I 100% agree. The earth is flat, says my man Darren. I'm sure he's saying that because he says, I don't believe global warming is going to kill us all. Then Harold means I'm a flat earther. Oh, no. I just think if I say anything about vaccines, do we have any evidence that the CDC recommended vaccine schedule for infants is safe? Have any evidence of that at all? No. And yet we have this huge increase in autism, asthma, allergies. Is there some corresponding thing there? It makes me a flat earther to even wonder why 4 of my kids have asthma or allergies, and yet 12 of my siblings do not, between my wife and me. And I'm a flat earther because I wonder, is there some correlating evidence there that says the allergies that we're getting as children could have something to do with a vaccine schedule the CDC recommends, which is what, up to 19? It's not just MMR anymore, my friends. It's 19. And there is no evidence that these things combined in one fell swoop over 18 months is safe. Now, that will get a lot of people off the channel. That will be, oh my goodness, you're anti-vaxxer. You're Jenny McCarthy. No, not Jenny McCarthy, not anti-vaxxer. I just want the truth. I want the truth. And to ask for the truth does not make you Jenny McCarthy. And to say, why did Michael Mann hide the decline? Why does he not look at the medieval warm period or the little ice ages in his hockey stick? That means I believe the earth is flat. Okay. Many advisors that you do not bring in a mortgage to your retirement. My opinion is paying off a mortgage just before retirement has given me great peace of mind. I completely agree with that. I just think at the end of the day, if it's mutually exclusive, paying off mortgage or putting money into a cash account, I need to have some money in cash too. That's for sure. Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate it. Stake on you, brother. I will. I plan on retiring at the end of 2020. Should I stop my 401k investments to help me pop cash or bucket one? No, man. I'm just doing your retirement account. Nothing wrong with that. Just do like a stable value fund. Absolutely. Stable value fund. Perfect. All right. Okay. We'll see. Mary says, I was born in 1960. Can I get survivor benefits from my ex-spouse and then switch over to his benefit, allowing my, yeah, absolutely, Mary. So Mary, divorcee, presumably she hasn't been remarried, but she was married over 10 years. She asked, can she get survivor benefits from her ex? Absolutely. But she says switch over to his benefit. It wouldn't be switching over to his benefit. You'll be getting his benefit initially and then reverting to your own with a delayed earnings credit. 100% absolutely. Mary, listen here, please. Let me make sure Pablo isn't doing something dangerous over there. What you got there, big man? Oh, boy. Chewy McGee. All right, so Mary, when you talk to Social Security, I'm telling you right now, they might mislead you. I don't even know it's deliberate. I don't know. I'm not convinced it's not deliberate. Let's just put it that way. Into trying to convince you that you'll get more money today by taking one benefit over the other. The Social Security Administration was found, I hate to say guilty because it sounds like it's illegal or criminal, but the Office of Inspector General last year found them negligent essentially in robbing widows such as yourselves of over $37 million in benefits surviving widows could have received, and widowers, so, surviving spouses, be it widows, spouses, or divorcee widows, either way, because of horrific guidance from SSA. You got to understand that, my friend. If they try to lead you down to a path of doing opposite of what you just said there, you would need to speak to somebody else, because that's simply the wrong answer. Who was I talking to? Someone emailed me not about a month ago about some crazy talk that Social Security Administration told them, or maybe they emailed me an article. I think I might have done a video on it. It's nuts. And they haven't learned their lesson, even though they were cited by the OIG. And of course, they're not paying that money back. SEC is in football like the IRS SEC. I can't remember what I was talking about, but if it's SEC and we're in football, we're probably talking about football, the Southeastern Conference. But I can't remember what I was talking about, so I can't remember. What to invest in a taxable brokerage account? Dividend stocks or growth stocks and minimum dividends. Yes, dividend growth stocks looks like SUNY Ray. In a taxable brokerage account, you want growth stocks and minimal dividends and minimal turnover, please. So ETFs are ideal in a taxable account with minimal small cap growth. VBK, Vanguard, Burger King, VBK. That's what you'd want in a brokerage account, 100% unequivocally. Recognizing that that could get hammered. So just be advised. Can I transfer to my Roth into purchasing a second home without getting dinged by taxes? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. Apathy sucks. And I'm glad you're not apathetic. Hello, Josh, says Tim. Do you think if I can gross 100 annual, should I do a regular IRA or Roth? I always default to doing the Roth until I need to convince myself to do the regular. So my default is always the Roth, Tim O'Daly, but I don't know your soul situation. So you have to look into that. But I default to the Roth until you find a reason to do the traditional. I just don't know your whole situation. Don't be stupid. By far the best advice I've heard in a long time. Totally worth $5, is my man Rob, who is a brother from another mother for sure. Yeah, don't be stupid and survive. That's what you got to be able to survive. That's from Taleb without question, who rubs a lot of people wrong, which is why I love him, because I love guys who don't give a crap. Google sucks. Yeah, if retiring at 52. I just did a video that was a little bit long in the tooth on the Google algorithm and how they it is completely manipulated against a certain political persuasion. The idea that they even say it's not is absolutely silly. It's silly, and yet they're going to fund enough Republicans that no one will. People just sweep it under the rug, and then those Republicans will get put out at some point or retire, like Paul Ryan, and then the Google will go on to the left-wing brothers in arms, and they'll totally ban anything from the right. I mean, we've seen this happen so many times. They get enough Republicans. Fannie Mae did this Republican Party. They got enough Republicans on board. Those Republicans like the money. They like to be on the cool kid team. The Democrats are easy to get because it's theirs ideology. The Republicans are just for the money. And so the money said, hey, come on us, Fannie Mae, Republican, Boehner. I don't think he was part of – he might have been Fannie Mae, but there's a number of Republicans who were supposedly conservative that jumped on the Fannie Mae gravy train back in the 90s, sold their souls for rock and roll, and And then when other Republicans try to get in there and say, we got to stop this, we got to stop this, we got to stop this, they didn't have enough support because they bought off enough. And that same thing has happened with Google. Same thing's going to happen to Amazon. They're going to buy off enough Republicans that Trump can wave the flag. It won't matter. They got enough Republicans that they're going to make rich. The whole thing's corrupt. Just like George Carlin says, it's a big party and you ain't in it. And that's, man, that goes for me too. It's the whole thing's corrupt. Stacking dollars. That's right, says AK. All right. Peter, I haven't seen this name before. Okay, there we go. He's talking. Devin's video about Social Security change in 2020 is because the first year you need to be 67 to be full retirement age. Oh, that's it? Okay. Oh, a little bit of clickbait there. That wasn't much of a change. Yeah. Josh, I'm posting from my new MacBook Pro. Previously, I was only able to donate $4.99, but as of today, I'm able to donate $5. Computer lets you donate $5 instead of $4.99. Hey, man. I take it. That right on, Brett. Oh man, I love that dog. Those something doodles or poodle doodles or something like that. Don't spend the extra penny all. Hey, well, you know what it is, compounding interest, right? Curious, how do you donate? Link to an account to YouTube. It's called Super Chat. To be honest, I can't remember how to do it anymore. I donate to my man Tony Heller. I donate to I think I did. Who else do I donate to? It's Super Chat. I can't remember how to do it. There's something called Super Chat. I'm right here. This is like there's like this dollar sign thing. But Tony Heller, I donate to. My man Matt Christensen, I donate to on whenever they do a live chat. There's another guy I donate to about climate change. Climate change is my big bugaboo. I hate it. I hate the whole thing because it's all fraud. And it's all socialism that's packaged in green silliness. And I hate retirement crisis and I hate climate crisis because both are silly. Both are packaging it to feed on your fear to get you to follow when shackles. That's all there is to it. And you got to stand up against these people, man. Anyway. My man David says, am I a Trump supporter? A shame. Oh, well. I don't. The idea that is news would be silly. I never come out there and say vote Trump. I'm not going to say that because you can do whatever the hell you want to do. I don't care. But who else are you going to vote for? Whatever. All right. Test drive your retirement budget for a few years before pulling the trigger. All right. So this my man Photox said he test drove his retirement budget a few years before pulling the trigger. A great peace of mind. That's it's funny that you said that because my man, my USMC airplane mechanic, he lived off solely he was living off his, I can't remember. It's not Social Security. He was living off a certain amount of money from it wasn't his pension, or I can't remember what it was. But for the last 2 years, he's just living off one group of money. And he said, if I can live off that, then basically whatever I get from Social Security, my pension will be just all going into cash. It'll be excess, if that makes sense. So he's in hog heaven there. LNB, question vaccines is right on. Yeah, I question because I just asked for the evidence of all the pro-vaxxers who want to mandate that my kids get vaccinated, which they all have been because my wife made that, and that's fine. But I question when I hear these people say we got to mandate, in particularly third world nations with our Western ways, to say we're going to put all this crap in your body, even though we have no evidence. But you don't want kids to get polio, do you? I'm like, that's such a freaking straw man argument. A straw man. It's nuts. But straw man arguments are what the weak offer. I was watching a global warming guy on the other day. He says 7 arguments against global warming and the arguments against it. And all his arguments were it's like no one argues this. Like the global warming, climate change deniers don't believe in climate change. No one argues that. Not one person argues that climate doesn't change or hasn't changed. It's a straw man. And what else do you say about something? It's like it's embarrassingly stupid that the idea that we argue against that stuff. No one does. We argue that CO2 is inherently evil. Hey, all right. So David does not like my non-support of Bernie. Okay. All right. Rob's got to go. Let's see. I love George Carlin. Yep. Wanda, can you a widow collect Social Security survivor benefit if she's over 60 and was married to a U.S. citizen over 10 years, but never lived in the U.S.? So I'm presuming that is you never lived in the U.S., Wanda, but your spouse did, or at least is a U.S. citizen. I don't know. That's a great question. We have great question. I don't know, Wanda. I don't know the answer to that. So my presumption is yes. I just don't know. You have to look in that. Drew says we have a lot of evidence for the benefits of vaccines and climate in the. It just bores me. Lots of evidence. It's a science. The science, I tell you, and yet the science is absolutely not convinced at all. Just because, folks, for you of those who are of open mind, read or watch the Eisenhower farewell address. It's nuts. That's the one he gets credit for the military industrial complex. But he also talks about the educational industrial complex and the government industrial complex, where you have all these scientists and academics who are scrounging for government grants. It's incredibly prescient. It's insane. I just posted it on my, if you're part of the community tab on Heritage with Planning, I did a video on that a few months back, and I wanted to post it again because it's so prescient what he said about the educational industrial complex. I think you get a lot out of that for sure. So watch that video. You don't have to watch through my website, but if you look at the Eisenhower farewell address, and right after the military industrial complex, he talks about it. It's my respect level for Eisenhower went through the roof on that. It's insane. I never understood that he was that knowledgeable on future events. Now, the drawback about Eisenhower is that's how we got the high carb, low fat thing, because when he had a heart attack, his doctor was a big believer in Ansel Keys's crappy research, similar to Michael Mann's crappy research, which leaves out the truth, which isn't science. Michael Mann's stuff on the hockey stick is a complete fraud. They can say all day long, it is. And just same thing with Ansel Keys. His 7-country study was a fraud. And yet that's what the basis of nutritional guidelines were for years, decades and decades and decades. And you think how many lives are lost to diabetes, to heart attacks, because of that horrific data. And they even knew, and yet they did nothing about it. And just like Michael Mann, they knew a high decline. Phil Jones over at East Anglia Climate Research Unit in the UK, they knew, and they fraudulently were able to get by. But those days are coming to an end, thankfully. So anyway, I love liberals. Stay in your lane. Man, it's like lowest common denominator. Stay in your lane. Like, can you guys think for yourselves, man? Good night. Stay in my lane. It's like marching orders. Jeez. VDix. I don't know what VFIAX is, Justin, but I'm a huge fan of VDIGS. I have it myself. I own it. So be advised, I own it. And I own that in my traditional IRA. If I had a Roth, I would own it there. But I do not have a Roth as we speak here. I thought I was going to have my Roth this year, but believe it or not, this channel has paid me a lot more than I ever anticipated. You guys being here. I mean, it's nuts. It's flipping insane. It's insane how successful financially this channel over this last year has become. And it's I can't I will never be appreciative enough, because I enjoy it. I find it fun. I will always tell you what I think, regardless of people like, who's this guy Drew up here gets pissed off, or the Pena guy. I don't care. I'm too old to care anymore. I don't try to offend anybody. I'm just too old to beat around the bush. I'm 49 years old, dudes. I got 4 kids. I was raised on an island off the coast of Maine. Life's too short. And I have a dog named Pablo, who some human being tried to hurt. And that's the wrong answer. And I don't have time for that. So anyway, it's not. So because of that, I made too much money to do Roth conversions. It would not make sense. I do have a lot of deductions through a high freaking house. My interest on this home, my homeowners, my property tax in Georgia is bigger. My interest is bigger, and I got 4 little crumb crunchers, which I still write off. So because of that, I do have some exemptions which I could use, but still, my income would be too high for me to do a Roth conversion. For me, it just would be, which is, yeah, too high is relative. Too high to you might be something different. Too high for me. Remember, I was literally looking at WIC just 12, 14 years ago when my wife had number 4. And we weren't making any. We made $32,000 in 2007. So high income for you may be different than high income for me. My wife is 1 of 9. Her dad died when she was young, and her mom worked at Kmart. All right, so we both come from rich families, as you can probably tell. So again, it's all relative, but for us, this is a lot of money that we're making here, and because of that, I don't feel comfortable doing Roth conversions and paying taxes. When I'm self-employed as well, and I have to pay double tax for FICA, I got to pay the 15.3 because I got to pay my own, plus I got to pay for the employer, of which I am for myself. If the government says you must do something, always question it. I wish more people did, man. I wish more people did, Robert. Sad thing is the government says it's right and people just fall. It's nuts. It's nuts. Hook, line, and sinker. They just fall for it. It's scary. Great look like him, Monty. All right, everybody looks like they're taking off. Hey, Robert says, if you're included on his tax return, the answer is yes. I hope that's right. So, Wanda, look into that and let us know. My man Robert here says, hoorah, Harry, right on. Right on. Thanks, Robert. Wanda, Robert says you can get survivor benefit. I don't know, but if that is correct, and I would lean to think he's correct, then you should. That's your friggin' money. Anyway, I hope that's right. I hope you report back to us. You can email me if you want, or put in the link in the comments, whatever you want, or show a note in the comments. But if that is true, I'd love to hear that. So, any lane is good. Just remember to use your blinker. Another jarhead who listened well at an early age, learn IT in the core, and have done it until now. Retired December 31st, 2019 at 51, 1 million to 401k, Roth, traditional, 550,000 equity rental homes. Man, that's nuts, dude. It's nuts. It's nuts, and it can be done. And I'm sure, Jack, it just fell. Your white privilege allowed it to fall into your lap. It just fell. You're just like, I just have to show up, and Donald Trump or whatever it is, Ronald Reagan is going to cut me checks. I don't have to do anything. It just falls into my lap. I will tell you, it's white privilege. Justin Trudeau, Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren. How come those guys are the white privilege? No one holds them accountable. But when it's it's the weirdest thing in the world. When some poor guy from West Virginia or Maine, he goes to college, everyone wants to yell at that guy, but Justin Trudeau with his white privilege, all his blackface stuff, freaking, what's her name? Elizabeth Warren, pretending she's an American Indian, which she was not. And we know she did that. And then Joe Biden, and that whole thing it's nuts. If you want to say there's white privilege, then freaking point the direction at the people who take advantage of it. It ain't the poor kid in West Virginia. Let me tell you that right now. All right. Oh, Dan, I'm glad you asked that. So my man Dan says, what's the difference between Vanguard Admiral investment in ETF? You got it, Jimmy. Thanks for being there, brother. Admiral, it used to be $100,000. It's a mutual fund if you have $10,000 in it, I think now, Dan, and it's a little bit lower of a basis point. So it's a little bit cheaper to own. Paul's getting excited. So it'd be the last question here. It's a little bit cheaper to own. I think it's like the Wellington fund, I think is 22 basis points, and the Admiral is like 12 or something like that. And that's the difference. So you have to have $10,000, I think, in the Admiral now, where it used to be 100,000. You got Theo. The ETFs are just they trade as stocks, so you can buy and sell them throughout the trading day. Yeah, right, Scott, you got it, man. With my Red Sox, they can buy and sell throughout the day, which is nice. But it could be a commission to buy and sell. So it's hard to go wrong on any of them. But if you can get the Admiral shares, you should. I would do the ETF ideally, but I have VDIGX. That's what I own. I'm not saying you should own it. But because I have it, it has those 5 letters on the ticker, VDIGX, you know it's a mutual fund. ETS will have 3 or 4. I don't know if there's any ETS with 2 tickers, but ETS will have 3 or 4 letters in the ticker. And that's fine too. So I own VTV, the Vanguard Value Index, and I own VDIGX, which is the Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund. And the Dividend Growth Fund is not the Admiral shares, but 22 basis points, can't go wrong. All right, friends. I appreciate y'all being here, and we'll see you guys next Sunday at 7:30. Thanks, guys. Take care, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. All right, everybody.